I want to get you guys to understand how this universe works. And some of you already know at a deep level, and some of you are just going to get reminded right now. Some of you are going to go, Gabby, it's the best explanation I've ever heard. And the ones that don't think that, I'd really like you to put that on, because it's just a nice way of being. That's all. So who here has ever really looked into quantum physics and vibration and frequency stuff, or watched The Secret, Awesome. Is there anyone here that's never done any spiritual growth at all? Or heard the term frequencies and vibration? Oh, great. In Brisbane, I ran this. There was one person who never had... He did really well. He did so well. His head looked like it was going to fall off by the end of it, but in a good way. He looked refreshed and happy at the same time. So, who here, right, has ever been in an elevator? Great. I like it. Is there anyone who hasn't been in an elevator? Right. So this is how it works. What if I told you that every single one of us sitting here right now, even though we're together, we're actually all in a whole other slightly different dimension experiencing a different world? Cool, right? So the way I see it is like this. Each and every one of us is kind of walking around with Earth on our heads like an astronaut helmet. And we're just bumping into each other and we'll go, hey, we'll meet Charles. And Charles's Earth is very similar to ours, and we'll go, dude, you're awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we'll hang out with him, and then we'll meet somebody else over here whose Earth's very different to us, and we go, oh, yeah, you're just weird. And we go back and talk to Charles, right? And we're basically walking around with these Earths. Now, these Earths, by the way, this isn't true, this is a metaphor for anyone that's taking notes. Okay. Thanks, babe. 1 second, I got a compliment. And these Earths, helmet-like things that we've got, can literally phase into, and even better. You know how with a television you can change the channel? Yeah? So it's imagine the Earth is like a television set, and you can change the channel on it, which will determine how you see the world and what happens and what you attract. Which means this guy over here could literally change his channel to being awesome, and then next time I come around, I'm like, hey, you're actually awesome, I was wrong about you. Yeah. Right? So, which means that we've got this multi-dimensional vortex energy helmet Earth thing on our heads, and we're walking around bumping into each other. How the whole thing holds up is beyond me, to be honest with you. It's a miracle, right? Now, when we look at the helmet, there's different levels that helmet can go into, so different channels, even better. I'm just going to use a different metaphor. There's different channels that it can go into, right? So imagine for a second there's low vibration channels and high vibration channels. So inside of your helmet you've got things like horror movies and dramas and thrillers, right? And they're down here. And then you've got Disney and comedy and romance up here, right? Great metaphor. Anywho, so you've got this helmet. Now, here's what's interesting. Your helmets, all of them, have the capacity to tune into any of these channels. Just like with your remote, you've got the capacity to tune into any channel. Is that cool? And guess who gets to hold the remote in your life? Me. Yep. And guess what a lot of you do with your remote often?
Let others control.
Or you leave it at home, you leave it at home, you give it to somebody else. Wouldn't it make sense, right? To kind of to protect that remote a little bit? Just putting it out there. It's kind of important. I remember as a kid, I wanted the remote. If my brother got the remote before I did, to watch his crap. And be like, oh, I want the remote, change it. Hold your own remote. Now, this is where it gets super delicious. So imagine all of these are frequencies. So you know how we've got radio stations? And if I press 101.1, I get love songs and dedications, I think I do. Yep, that's right. I'm thinking, I do, right? Yes, okay, cool. Now, if I press 101.1 and there's love songs and dedications playing, right? Now, no matter how hard I press 101.1, I will never, ever, ever hear heavy metal other station that's all like, rah, 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 rah. Is that fair to say? And I could smash that thing, you know, right? No matter how hard I press the channel 7 button on my remote, I will not get channel 10. Is that cool? Yeah. Awesome. Love that you get that. Here's what we do. We tune into a frequency. For argument's sake, in business, that frequency could be, we're going to go like negative to positive. Is that cool? Yeah. So we're going to like take you all down to a place where you're feeling miserable and then bring you back. No, I'm just joking. So if we tune into scarcity, I don't have enough, shit, how am I going to pay the bills? This business isn't working, fuck, 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 right? We're tuned into this floor. Now, if we're tuned into that channel, that station, if we're tuned into that, and then we go and execute a marketing strategy, that's no different to keeping pressing channel 7, hoping we get channel 10. That's what we're doing in reality. That's why it's so crucial that we don't take any action in a shit state. Is that cool? Are you getting it? Is it cool? Awesome. So, we have these floors. We have these dimensions our helmets are hanging out in. And there's different frequencies, and this is why you literally can feel different day to day. Have you noticed? It's like, oh, I felt really good yesterday. Oh, I'm feeling a bit flat today. Do you know why? Because yesterday you were at this channel, and today you're in this one. Now, who's ready for the super, super sexy part? I know I am. What if I told you that the more spiritual evolution work you do, you actually grow your range? You get more channels. You get Foxtel. You get that was awesome. I have to reward that with something super cool. You get a game. Yay! Enjoy. All right. So to show it to you like this is where we start off when we venture into business, and this is the possibility we have. It's friggin' endless. And say that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Say for argument's sakes, you literally had this gauge. These were your channels. When you embark and do the work on growing, evolving spiritually, clearing your crap so you can return back to being an abundant baby, right? You're literally adding. It's so perfect she's here, isn't it? So everyone's looking at her going, yep, she seems pretty self-expressed and happy. And it keeps going. So to me, this is what I've noticed and this is what I love. And this is what makes all the difference, guys. That if this was your range, then all of a sudden your range starts to be here. Your bottom channel is actually what your top channel used to be. How cool is that? You're incapable of accessing these channels anymore the more spiritually you evolve. You just can't access victim mentality anymore once you evolve. You can't. It's just not there anymore. Is this cool? This is where we acquire freedom, doing the spiritual work. Yes, the strategy. Yes, of course we're going to market and sell and lead. That's a given. That's the action part of it. But if we don't do this work and create more floors for us to tap into, how the crap can we call in the result? How can we call in that virtual world, that channel, if all we're doing is walking around in whatever channel we're tuning into and seeing the world that way? In order for us to create anything greater, we need new channels. Right? How sexy is that? Give me a yes, Gabby, that's sexy. Yes. Thank you. Michelle.
I find when I'm at that level, you're more in the flow.
Yeah.
You're in the flow and that vibration. More creativity, inspiration, ideas will flow.
Totally.
Like that.
Yep. Because you're tuned into your soul. You're tuned into the universe. You've got a team of energetic badasses. Seriously, there is so much energetic help out there. We've got armies behind us, wanting us to actually have cool stuff happen. We were meant to live our dreams. We weren't meant to live this way. Are you okay?
I'm okay.
See? Did you see? Oh, Michelle, you get another one just for the fact that... There you go, honey.
Oh, wow.
And second time. That's right. So our job is to actually do the vibe work consistently and consistently master sales, marketing, and leadership. Is that cool, guys? Now, is this a nice way of explaining what's going on? The other way, just to lock it in even deeper, is I will give you the elevator metaphor. If everything you're wanting is on floor 22 of a building and you hop into an elevator and you press floor 22, as a normal human being, who has ever stopped the elevator at 12, gotten out, looked around and went, this isn't right, and gone back into the elevator and went back down again, and went back in, pressed 22, and went, this is taking friggin' ages. Stopped it, went back down again. Who's ever behaved like that in an elevator? If you have, leave right now, because it's unacceptable behaviour. This is what we do while we're growing. I kid you not, if all you did was maintain an abundance frequency, meaning if you set your alarm to go off every hour and just sat there tuning in, connecting to all the abundance you already friggin' have in your world, like oxygen, right? Do you know how abundant that is? None of us have to worry that the oxygen is going to run out. Imagine for a second if there was this big woo and all the televisions and radios and stuff started yelling, oxygen's about to run out in 2 hours. Like, we're all absolutely screwed, right? It's so abundant to be able to breathe and live. If you were to honestly tune in, tap in, connect to being present to the trees and the sky and, you know, amazing humans and just all the cool stuff, dishwashers, washing machines, you know, pretty clothes, lip gloss, all the awesome, getting my values here, aren't you? If you actually did the work on tuning into that floor, I kid you not, magic would happen. Do you know what? And that would be you riding the elevator. I kid you not. It's like if you want more money, connect to all the money you already have, and it doesn't have to be in your bank account if you're in child phase. It can be. Abundance is abundance. The universe doesn't even measure it as a monetary thing. It's providing you with resources, opportunities. Abundance will show up in your life, not just as cash in your bank account. Bless you. It'll show up as one of your best friends buys an awesome holiday house, and now you got it to live in, and it's great. Yeah, it's true. Another best friend buys a killer boat, and pooh, got myself a boat. It's true, and most of us, when that stuff happens, as opposed to receiving the abundance, go, I want my own boat. You know, and then really do you really want to look after it and you know, learn how to drive it and all that stuff? Do you? I kid you not, if you were to tune into the frequency of your vision, and I'm going to take you there in just a moment. Who's ready to go and travel into the floor where their business, I'm going to get you to download the unique signature frequency emotional state of your channel, your floor, whatever you want to call it, right? And if you were to put that vibration on like a jacket all day long and become the version of yourself that matches that vibration, you'll call into reality your business vision smoother, funner, and faster than you could possibly imagine. But you know what? Most people don't do it. Most people, that is getting on the elevator and staying on the elevator. Most people set their alarms and it goes off. Put your frequency on code on, Chris. Yep, done. Then someone, you know, happens to say something stupid and you let it bother you. And you let your significance and your righteousness and your insert whatever bullshit, you know, get in the way from you maintaining that vibration. And you start going down. And most people are doing this. Now, what helps is actually doing deep healing work. So you can hold on to your remote control. Deep healing work, spiritual evolutionary work, gives us more hold and grip over our remote control. Yes?
When you
Yes.
How long did it take you to tap into this frequency?
Pretty quickly. So that's actually a great question. That's a great question. So this is what happened. After I decided to actually really give this a true go, and I'd already learnt kinesiology and all these magic tools, right? Who here knows kinesiology? Should probably ask people who doesn't. Gotta stop because all these hands go up. Oh, cool. So ish. All right. So long story short, this is the way I like to explain it. You program a muscle in the body to either tense up or drop, and you can communicate directly with the subconscious, the primal, however you want to call it, right? I call it brain mechanics or vibe mechanics because you literally, it's like, I believe that we're a really super awesome organic computer, yeah? And we've got all these programs, right? And some of your programs are awesome and some of them need an update, right? And with kinesiology, you can literally communicate. If you know how to go in and how to reprogram the computer, you can literally go in there and pull out the crap programs and install the awesome programs. Awesome programs. Yeah? So what I did when I launched what happened was my very first business venture was actually a direct selling business. And the hardest the hardest form of selling, I don't even know if the industry exists anymore, to be honest with you, I don't think it does. So what we did was I sold water purification systems in someone's home via presentation. And we'd send out a lead generation team that would get leads for us, we'd book appointments, we'd go out and we'd do a presentation where we'd talk about the importance of drinking water, test their water, tell them that their water sucks, and get them to buy anywhere from $2,500 to $7,500 product in an hour and a half after meeting us. Super easy, right? Now, the best people in the industry, like the ones that have been doing it for years, were absolute guns at it, had polished presentations. They were converting about 30%, meaning 1 in 3 people would purchase. And the industry churned through salespeople like no end because it's the hardest form of selling. I didn't know it was the hardest form of selling. I also didn't know old people don't buy, or young people don't buy, or single men don't buy. All the single men bought off me. Right? And so what I did, to answer your question, is because I already had this knowledge and I was already working, helping people shift into themselves around various things, I used the knowledge I'm sharing with you today every single day to shift my limiting blocks. Every time I found myself not in alignment with my vision, I would do some magic on myself and shift it and release it and gain control of my remote. Does that make sense? So within 6 months of like zero experience in selling, within 6 months I became #1 in the country, started up my own franchise and took my conversion rate to 80% and maintained it. So 8 out of 10 people that I saw would purchase one of these awesome, beautiful, life-changing gifts, right? And it was all clearing the energy. Like, don't get me wrong, I was doing sales courses. My mentor had given me I was literally listening to all of Brian Tracy's sales stuff. Like, I was consuming strategy knowledge and applying it, doing all sorts of cool stuff and applying it at the same time as raising my own vibration and receiving. I'd be like, I remember when I first started, I worked 6 days a week and I didn't like it. Just didn't feel good working 6 days a week. And the reason why we'd work 6 days a week was because, it was a numbers game. Like, if you did 6, you'd be guaranteed to make 3 sales, which was a 6-figure income. Yeah? But I was like, well, I just want to work on the days where people buy. That was my idea. And I did all the clearing around it so it would happen. And then I was like, I just want to work on the days where 2 to 3 people buy. And I did the clearing around it, and that's what happened. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Yep, and in my second industry, so I also own a finance brokerage on top of this business. I entered that industry and within 7 months became #1 in the state, and within 2 to 3 years became #1 in the country. They had to redo their whole tracking system to track my results. Their software would produce, I get to blow my trumpet. But I shared this with you not because I'm blowing my trumpet. God, honestly, guys, I'm just a human being. And if anything, I'm an immigrant. I was born in Poland in communism. We came here, I lived in a refugee camp for a year. I came here with nothing. We worked hard as a family. I started my own business when I was 7, washing cars to help my family. Like, money was scarce. This is shift work that actually enabled me to step into this version of myself. So that's how I was able to get really fast results by, is that cool? Yeah, you get paid now. Woo! That was an awesome team effort, apart from the fact that you dropped it. But so it's all the frequency, guys, and I promise you, if you just get this and you do the work on your frequency, and this is when we know, honestly, our emotions will tell us. I kid you not, you will know if you're in alignment with your business goal or not by the way you feel. If you feel happy and good, you're in alignment with your business vision. If you don't feel happy, if you feel worried or stressed, you're not in alignment. How simple is that? And if ever you're feeling shit, go do something about it. Don't tolerate these flaws. Imagine if you didn't tolerate these flaws. What if you got yourself an apartment right here and it had a helicopter deck out the window, so you literally just could go out your window into the helicopter and you never had to go here again. Right? That's how I live my life. I'm so protective of my vibration. I won't work with anyone unless they're an awesome human being. I'm so protective of the humans I hang out with. I'm always around nature and beautiful things. And I do a whole bunch of stuff that's vibe-based. I have regular, awesome shamanic breathwork sessions with this rocky woman. Now, I've got coaches and healers, and I attend amazing seminars and retreats all over the world and co-create with amazing souls. I've got zero tolerance for these flaws. Zero. Thank you. That was them telling me that I'm taking up too much time at my own event, right? I really want you to get this, and I'm going to harp on it, because if this isn't right, you'll either not get your result, or worse, you'll get the physical manifestation, but you'll miss it. If we're not vibing at the frequency of what we desire and it shows up in our physical world, we don't see it. And this is any area of life. This is the beautiful girl who's got a great body, but she's vibing at some fucked up things, and she notices the 100 grams of fat on her hip, right? And it does her head in. I've got acquaintance or friends actually. I've got a friend of mine who's an actor and a performer. He's so picky about his physical body. He looks fantastic. It's awesome to have him around without his top on. It's great. But he's like, oh yeah, and I'll be like, oh, you look amazing, Simon. Yeah, almost there, getting there, missing the whole thing. Like, who cares? Like, honestly, you're better off, you're better off being fat, enjoying the food. Like, you're putting all this work in, 6 days a week in the gym, and you're not even enjoying it. I've seen so many business owners do the same thing. They reach the time and the money, but they didn't become the version. They didn't build, they didn't go into the frequency of it to be able to receive it. And they don't feel successful. I was reading a book, and I really recommend all of you read it. I've read it a few times now. It's called, Start With Why by Simon Sinek.
What's it called?
Start With Why? Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Start with...
Simon Sinek.
Yep, Simon, whoopsie, Sinek. Really recommend it. You'll love it.
Cynic with an S.
S. Yep, S-I-N-E-K. Don't quote me on that. Because if you don't have at least 3 ways to spell something, Martin, you're not creative. So, some of you agree with me on that one. So, reading this book, and inside this book, he talks about the fact that he's at a high-end mastermind. And by high-end, these people are quite successful and accomplished. There's about 100 people in the room, and at the start of the day, the presenter says, raise your hand if you've achieved your financial goals in business. Now, honestly, what percentage right now of business owners and entrepreneurs do you think achieve their financial goals in business?
3%.
33, yeah, okay, cool. So we've got a range. I don't actually know what the percentage is, but I don't think it's 100. Cool? Because I wouldn't be in business if it was.
Achieved your goals, Gabby, why keep going?
It's a great question. To me, we are creators, and it's not to me, I don't even look at goals, I look at experiences. When I'm setting my goals, I actually ask myself, what experiences do I want to have next? And then I have those experiences and I go, what experiences do I want to have next? And then that's how I look at goals personally.
But that was my point, that there is no ending, there is no achievement of the goal. The goal is always moving forward.
To reframe it for you, they were asked who here achieved their financial goal that they set out when they started business.
Oh, that's better.
There we go. So, yeah, because I like it, because your mindset's like mine. It's like we just keep growing, otherwise it's boring, right? Yeah, great question. Here is 2 prizes because they're stuck together. Woohoo!
Thank you.
So, anywho, right, they asked this question, and so, it's, who's achieved the millions, the 6 figures, the 7 figures, whatever it is that they saw in their mind. 80% of this room raises a hand. So that tells us it's a decent room of overachievers, right? Do you know what's sad? They said, okay, keep your hands raised if you feel successful and fulfilled. And 80% of these people drop their hands. And that to me is devastating. That to me is that really hot person who can't enjoy their body because they've got 100 grams of fat on their hip. What's the point? Like, honestly, if we can't learn how to tune into our soul, how to be present, how to remember what it's like to be a kid again and smile and laugh and be creative and playful and, enjoy it all, if we're going to be all grown up about it and wreck it, if we're going to have big people all over it, right? Bleh to the big people and hello to the childlike, wonder of it all. So that's what's missing. To me, it's that. If we don't do the work on our own spiritual evolution, we can get a physical result, but we're going to miss it because we're in the channel that has us not see it. Is that cool? Now, for me, how do I know this? Because this was me, in all fairness. I learnt how to shift my belief systems. I learnt how to shift into the channels or the elevator floors, however you want to, whichever metaphor you prefer. You've got choice here. I learned how to shift into receiving more money. I learned how to let go of limiting beliefs. But the first time I acquired business freedom, I still remember feeling freaking awesome for about 2 weeks and then feeling dead inside and not knowing what was wrong. Because I hadn't become the version of myself that could truly embody and be present in that. There was so much more for me to still learn. And what I learned, and I hope it serves you today, because it took a fair bit for me to learn this, what I learned was this. We need to know ourselves. We need to know what our core frequency is. What if I told you that just like there's different floors, here you've got $1 million, here you've got 500,000, there's different floors that we can live in, and they have a different frequency, like a 101.9. What if I told you that you've got your own code, your own magical code, and our job in order to really be fulfilled is to take everything off that's not that code and to be that code, the full self-expression of it in every single way. And that's where the magic comes. Would that make sense to you? Yeah.
Choose the own music of your life.
Totally. And so for me, the next journey that I took was that one. It was the spiritual journey. It wasn't just having the physical. That's to me an adult business. I had an adult business. I didn't have a freedom business yet. And it doesn't matter that I had the time and money. I wasn't feeling the deliciousness of life. Yeah? And so here's something I learned, and it usually serves because I tend to attract people that are vibing at a very similar frequency to me that I can serve. And I literally ask that only the ones that I can truly serve show up to these things. And I do a lot of beautiful energetic work to call you in here. And who here would resonate with the fact that you call yourself a bit of an overachiever, that you like to achieve stuff, that you like to do stuff, yeah? Is there anyone here that feels like they're an underachiever? They never ever follow their dreams. They never take action on anything. Well, you just built a business in the last year since I met you, so I think, like, yeah, you might be...
I'm learning to.
You're stepping into achieverishness. Yep, so, yep, cool. So for the rest of you, and there might be something in here too for you, Naomi. What I found was this. My soul code, because an overachiever to me is someone who likes to create. An overachiever is someone who likes to create more than the underachievers do, yeah? And so what I found was this, that in not really getting that I had this creating code inside of me. Yeah, I created, I had a theatre company and then I did this, and I used creativity, but I wasn't tuning into the fact that I'm a creator, yeah? And if I'm a creator, it's never about the goal. It's never ever about the goal, it's about the journey. I had to become the version of myself that actually enjoyed the journey more than the outcome of the experience. I had to become, and it's kind of logical once you go on this shift, I started to look at life like a holiday. I started to look at this whole life like a holiday. I took on the belief system that my soul, up there in quantum space on floor, no physical body, right? Decided to come to planet Earth, but it came here no different to how we go to Hawaii. It came here wanting an experience. It didn't come here wanting the whole friggin' thing to be over. A lot of us pursue our next experiences in the wrong way. It's this much money, this much this much that, like they're tickable, checkable. Once I've ticked all this off, I've done it. That's no different than booking yourself a trip to Hawaii and going, I'm going to go snorkeling, I'm going to go river rafting, I'm going to go hiking, I'm going to eat some bananas, I'm going to eat some mangoes. And then you go to Hawaii and you kind of go, all right, mangoes, bananas, done, tick. Snorkel, blah, 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 blah. And river rafting, yay! Awesome, done, holiday's over. All right, did that. Who here's ever done a holiday like that? Someone has? Did someone say yes? I was doing life like that. Yeah, I get you. So stop it. But for your honesty, you get a bubble blowing ring.
Oh, I'll try and catch it.
1, 2, 3. Woo! Yeah, did you see that? I love it.
And I'm left-handed.
Yeah. So for me, it was this journey of learning how to actually be present, learning how to become the version of myself that enjoyed each piece of that journey. Caught my kids' first step, caught my kids' first walk, caught my kids' first putting on their shoe on the right foot. Does that make sense? Versus the opposite, which was hunting, which was constantly going after the outcome. I started to live my life like a holiday, and that's when everything changed. Is that helpful for anybody? What if you lived this life like you came here for an experience, a holiday, and you actually started to go, hey, what do I want to do today? What do I want to do this year? I think I'll go snorkeling. Is that cool? Is that helpful? Yeah. Beautiful. I really recommend that if anything resonates with you strongly today, write it down somewhere, stick that puppy in your house so you know that that's your project, that's your aligned action. Most of my aligned action, guys, I kid you not, it's identity work. It's becoming the identity of the floor, of the channel.